And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day of the World Team League WTL 2023 Summer Code S round number 9. It's, of course, day number 2 of this round. I'm, of course, your host, Light VIP, and with me, I'm joined by my lovely and beautiful plushies. Oh, you love to see them. Later on in the broadcast, I may be joined by another Duckling, but we'll see. We'll see how it all does come together, as today we have a pretty intense day of World Team League. As you can see, our first match is going to be Team Liquid going up against DKZ Gaming, and this is going to be a pretty important match here for Team Liquid. They are, they're in a pretty decent spot right now. They've been doing surprisingly well considering some of the other big teams out there. They are currently in 4th place, as you can see there with the number 4. 4th place here in World Team, which is pretty good, but we want to get better here. We want better seeding coming into the playoffs. The better seeding you have, the less games you have to play, the less matches you have to play. So that's ideal here for a lot of these teams, and Team Liquid are looking to duke it out against one of the favorites, the 4-time WTL champions. It is going to be DKZ Gaming. I mean, technically they were going by a different name, DPG, in the previous seasons, but basically DKZ Gaming, DPG, same thing. And yeah, they're a team of champions, They have Elazer, they have Hero, they have Dark, but they're fielding a bit of a different roster, whereas we're going to be, I imagine, there we go. They're fielding a little bit of a different roster tonight, which is going to mix things up. It does make things a little bit more difficult here for DKZ. As we can see, they're ace players. Clem, of course, for Team Liquid, the best Terran in all of Europe, one of the best Terran in the world. And we have Hero, the best Protoss in Korea, one of the best Protoss, or arguably the best Protoss in the world. So it's possible that they could face off as well. If we do go to the ace match, we could see a very tight TVP between those two players. And here is the lineup. That is not correct. Jieshi 2-0 Clem, let's go. I think they haven't refreshed the score. This is actually the score from yesterday. This is the Abydos versus Starlight Twinkle score. So it looks like, yeah, there we go. They haven't refreshed the score, but there we go. Shout out to the WTL production team. They are clearly on top of it. And there it is. We're going to be starting off with Clem versus Jieshi, into SKillous versus Hero, into Elazer versus Dark. So quite a number of mirror matchups, at least towards the end. But we're going to be starting things off with the TVP. Oh, let's go. TL got wrecked without even starting. True. And here he is, the ace player himself, an A tier player, which makes a lot of sense. Typically, the S tier category is reserved for the best of the best, for champions, not just regional champions, but world champions. So yeah, there are only 2. I believe it's Cyril and Maru. Maru hasn't won a world championship, but he has won plenty of GSL, so that's how he earned his spot. Meanwhile, it's going to be Clem versus Jieshi. And unfortunately, this is a little bit of a one-sided matchup. Jieshi is arguably the weakest player on DKZ Gaming. It looks like Oliveira was not available today, or they decided that they didn't need him. It's very possible that DKZ Gaming, they came into this and they're like, it's Team Liquid, Papi. They don't have any Koreans. We don't need to field Oliveira. We were fine. So whether Oliveira wasn't available or whether they thought that they could maybe win without him, we've yet to find out, yet to be determined here, as Jieshi is going to be stepping up to the plate. And here we go, diving into game number 1 in the bottom right hand corner for Team Liquid, the French Terran, Clem. The French Terran, yeah. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Gressfan, we have his opponent representing DKZ Gaming. It is Jieshi. Let's go, Papi. Let us go. And yeah, this is going to be a tough one here for Jieshi. He's not just up against the ace player of Team Liquid. He's literally up against one of the best players outside of Korea. Clem is a force to be reckoned with, and Jieshi has to be coming in with a plan. And speaking of having a plan, he's looking for proxies. He's a little bit concerned that his opponent may be a little bit aggressive towards him, which makes plenty of sense. Clem has proxied from time to time, especially in this matchup, so Jieshi just making sure he is safe and sound before we do progress in this game. But again, the pressure is on him to really get things rolling here for his team. In a way, pressure's on him, I guess not as well, just because he's up against Clem. It's like, do people, I mean, the chances that he not just takes the game, even 2-0s would be crazy, would be insane. We'll see what he can bring to the table. We'll see if he can pull off maybe a team GP maneuver. Maybe he can pull off, I almost said a pile driver. What did we call it yesterday? It's called like the pedigree. Maybe he can pull off a pedigree. Maybe he can pull off a starving camel. We shall see. Shout out to Triple H last night. Made for a lot of memes. Didn't make for the most amazing games, but memes were had. Memes were had. Let's go. As we do have a Twilight Council opener coming out from Jieshi. Okay, so already mixing things up a little bit. No Phoenixes on the horizon. This time, the Adept is in position. The Reaper is denied entry into the main. Behind this, Clem working on his CC as well as his factory as well. This was a Rax expand from Clem, so a more economic opener from our Terran player. He's not rushing into his tech. He wasn't rushing into his gases, as he's just taking his second gas now. So pretty standard economic stuff coming out from Clem. So far, he hasn't seen the initial tech building of his opponent. He has been denied entry time and time again. We see once again he tries to slip into the main base, but no, the Stalker is waiting for him. So Jieshi has done a great job at keeping Clem in the dark. We see behind this, it is going to be Blink, but the question is how many gateways? Because he's been keeping this hidden by like so much, I imagine it's going to be 4 gate. But you know, the other kind of wild thing to do is, you know, keep your opponent in the dark for as long as possible and go for an economic opener instead with a 3rd Nexus. We'll see. See what he decides to go for. For the time being, I believe we only have 2 gateways up and running here for Jieshi. So it could just be for that expand. We see a Hellion poking in as well. With said Reaper, we're going to be running past his Stalker and getting into... looking to get into the main base. There is that Nexus on the way, but no, it doesn't get thrown down in time. The probe does get hunted down, and with that, we should get enough confirmation here that it is, of course, a 2-gate opener into that 3rd Nexus. So again, an economic opener from Jieshi, but I really appreciated that he was doing like a really good job at keeping up with the Reapers and the Hellions. I think I've spoken about this with Asher before, how in a lot of matchups, it's really cool to see players like hyper fixated on denying scouting when there's nothing to scout, like just to get into the mind of your opponent, just to get like, you know, get ahead in the mind games in a way and try and distract them and, you know, perturb them in a way. As we do see Clem following up with a drop. Again, he confirmed the 3rd base, so he knows nothing crazy is going on. And with this drop, he's looking to get a little bit more scouting information as well. There's only a single Widow Mine, so he's not looking for an insane amount of damage. Really, he's just looking to contain his opponent. I say contain his opponent. Really looking to just figure out what the follow-up will be, whether we go into something like Colossus, whether we go into mass gateways. As the drop does come in, the medevac is going to be hunted down, does get focused on by those Stalkers, and we do see the retargeting here from Clem, and will only get a single probe. Cute moves though, very cute moves from Clem. He was looking for a Stalker kill, but alas did not get it. So good reactions out of Jieshi, able to completely shut down that drop without losing too much, just some lost mining time. Definitely could have been a lot worse. Behind this, we were talking about the possibilities of that transition point for Jieshi, whether he would go into Robotech or something else, and we can see it is going to be charged, so he's going to be sticking with a Swarm Toss style of Blink Stalkers and Charge Lots. I imagine behind this we can even get into Archons and maybe even Storm if we throw down the Templar Archives. So yeah, we'll see how Jieshi does round this out. He's got his Observer across the map, keeping an eye on his opponent's move out. We have a Prism moving out as well, just to keep Clem contained here on 2 bases for as long as possible. Meanwhile, Clem, he isn't done harassing. You know, the mine drop may not have done too much, but now we have a Raven slipping in towards that natural base as well, looking to get some more economic damage, focus down as many probes as possible, and we get just one probe. Almost got a second probe there towards the end. But again, so far, Jieshi has been able to keep up really impressive stuff. Gateway Explosion is well underway. We're working on +1 armor. For those wondering, +1 armor is prioritized when you're going mass charge a lot, just because it's a similar dynamic as Ling Bane versus Terran versus Bio, where you want armor, you want carapace for your Banelings to make sure they survive long enough to actually get on top of the Terran army. Likewise, armor is so that the Zealots can survive long enough to get on top of them to get their swipes off. The +1 attack isn't as important in this situation just because they do so much damage already. Here we go. We do have those charges slipping into the main base, or at least the Prism looking to slip into the main. We have a Bay on the way behind this as well to get into some splash damage, into some Colossi. So we're not just going to be committing to pure Gateway army. We are kind of diversifying our army from this point here. At least Jieshi is. As Clem moves out, that Observer sees everything, does see the army moving out, and Jieshi, that is the cue here to slip into the main. As soon as the army moves out, Jieshi, he moves in. We have a massive warp into the main base as well. Boys are being pulled. Not too much damage is being done yet, but Clem is forced to bring everything back home. Oof. A couple of mines are going to be going down. Boys have to be pulled back as well. We have to be careful about the friendly fire. And it looks like Concussive Shell will not be focused down. Clutch Repair coming in from Clem is able to keep it alive and does force back this drop. But we can see that was a pretty good trade here for Jieshi overall. He didn't get an overwhelming amount of damage, but 5 SCVs and forcing Clem to turn back around, as well as all the lost mining time, well worth it. Oh my god. Clem. He actually just... Wow. He didn't just almost kill his tank. After he untargeted the tank, on the camera, he like visibly shook. It looked like he was like just a little bit uncomfortable. So yeah, Clem, you gotta be careful, papi. It looks like the Prism does go down. A good pick up here by Clem. Doesn't just get the Prism, but all the Zealots inside it. At the same time, we have the double auto turret harass as well in the natural. Clem turning the heat up here. He's, really he was just sitting at the wrong angle. He just had to reposition in the chair, and now he's ready to game. Now he's ready to play some Terran. Disruptor is now out. How good is the Nova going to be so far? Just going to zone away the army. Zealots, they come in from the side. A decent angle. Force fields aren't looking too bad either, but we just don't have enough Protoss on the ground. Another Nova goes off. Only connects with a single Marine. Not the best connections here from Jieshi. The first one a little bit premature, and we saw a lot of force fields were wasted as well. We do have another couple being thrown down. We get one of those Marauders. Good target firing coming out from Clem. Very risky. He does take down that Disruptor before the Nova goes off. Now Clem is slowly pushing forward. Disruptor moves forward as well. Tries to get another Nova off, and it looks like he will get it! Oh my god! Clem shaking his head on the camera there. He takes a massive Nova to the face. A little bit slow there to focus down that Disruptor, and now I'm feeling a little bit concerned here for Clem, not gonna lie. Ay. I mean, at least he killed the Prism earlier. Remember, if he didn't kill that Prism, then he would be under threat of a counterattack. There could potentially be another Zealot warp into his main base as we speak. So thankfully, he doesn't have to worry about that. He can still focus on his push. He still has a pretty large army. He can still push on towards that 4th base. Meanwhile, a couple of workers are going to be going down. The Raven harass does not stop. And he's pushing in towards that 4th base. At the same time, Jieshi is setting out a counterattack. Is looking to hit the 3rd base of Clem. We do see him stim on forward as well. Nova isn't going to get too much, gets only a single Widow Mine. Meanwhile, the Zealot army isn't finding too much damage either. Does catch some reinforcements and is finally hitting that 3rd. Nova, sorry, Purification Nova. The Overcharge is forced to be popped. The Zealots are actually getting a lot of reinforcements, and they're getting into the mineral line as well. These Zealots are getting out of hand. Uh-oh. Disruptors are looking to go off as well. Good target firing towards the end, but we can see Clem is running out of steam. He's running out of units. He loses his 3rd base. 17 SCVs go down. And suddenly, Clem, he's in a lot of trouble. He shakes his head again on camera. The Zealots, they come in from behind. They take down the tank. They take down everything. Clem gets cleaned up, and his economy's in shambles. He's down to 45 workers. He still has a pretty competitive army. He actually has a higher army supply than his opponent. He can still make a fight happen. As long as he doesn't take a Nova to the face. As long as he doesn't... Speaking of, Widowmine shots are going to be going up, punishing the forward blink here of Jieshi. He overextends. He's going to be losing so many of those Stalkers and the Disruptor as well. Jieshi needs to calm down. He's losing a little bit too much, and Immortal's going to be going down and another Disruptor. Again, he just came in with only half his army. Now he comes in with another half, and Clem is taking a great fight. Just Jieshi bleeding out too much. He's forced to race all the way back home. Is there an overcharge? Is there a shield battery? The answer is no. He recognizes that. He throws down one now, but it looks like Clem just doesn't have enough on the ground to keep on pushing. Again, that was a great moment for him. He caught Jieshi exposed, basically. He caught him overextending, but he wasn't able to really capitalize on that into like any economic damage. He wasn't able to punish the 4th, the 3rd, or the 5th, but we see Clem rotating around, and Jieshi has very little map vision right now. He doesn't see this rotation. He doesn't see the army. He does have a recall available, and he may be forced to once this army reveals itself. There it is. We do recall back to the natural base. Gateway is going to be going down. But Jieshi didn't recall his zealots. They're going for another counterattack. Oh, God. The mines don't get any friendly fire. Good connections on those zealots, and yeah, these zealots are going to get cleaned up. There was a lot of potential with that zealot run by, but no, it does go down. And with that, the game is settling down. Clem is working on a 4th base. Because he sniped so many high-tech units earlier, like he's still in this, he sees the army stims on board, he wants to take another fight. Oh, God. He's got to be careful there, Papi. We have 2 more Novas behind this. Oh, Jieshi fumbling in the control. Fires off the wrong Nova, and we can see the Disruptor being focused down as well. I don't think this is a fight we want to take for Jieshi. Zealots are trying to close the distance, but we are kiting well. We get another EMP on top of those Zealots. And I feel like Jieshi is bleeding out too much. Forced to back off. Another zoning Disruptor goes off. Keeping Jieshi in this, but Clem, he wants that Disruptor. He's going to get it. Oh, he gets the Disruptor. At every turn, we're just losing Disruptor after Disruptor. Honestly, if Jieshi just made... We need some Colossus. We need some consistent splash damage mixed in here, buddy. These Disruptors, they're not becoming worth it here towards the end of the game. Or as the game goes on, I should say. Time and time again, the Disruptor count's being reset. We're making 2 Disruptors at a time. We do have extended thermal lens on the way, so it looks like we are making some Colossi. But we're thinking about it. We haven't made any yet, but, you know, it's on the way. Ay. Thankfully for Jieshi, he does have a 5th base behind this, so he's able to maintain his economic lead. But Clem is working on a 4th, and if this 4th base gets up and running, Clem is going to get out of control. We do see the Zealots diving on top of this army. They get 1 of those ghosts. They get 2 ghosts. Big losses here for Clem. That Disruptor edging on floor. I don't feel this fight, I'll be honest. I feel like we're playing with fire. Like Jieshi, I feel like once again he's overextending a little bit too much. Liberators are coming across after harassing both the natural and the 3rd base. Disruptors once again exposed. Once again, another Disruptor goes down. Jieshi had such a good start to this game. He was ahead, I'll be honest. Oh god, but ever since that moment he's been taking some really rough fights. Really questionable engagements. We see once again the Zealots trying to charge on forward. Nova goes off as well. Good moment here for Jieshi, but he loses his Observer. Observer does go down. We see this time he does preserve his Disruptors, though. He's able to pull them back and keep them alive. We see another Nova going off. Oh my god! Oh, actually getting a decent connection on the Bio Army. Oh, but he doesn't care. He's diving on top of these Disruptors. They overextend once again! Jieshi, why do you hate your balls? He doesn't like it. Stop making at this point. Just commit to the Colossi, Papi. It's not worth it, Papi. It's not worth it. Good blink micro there from Jieshi. Another Nova goes off. And here we go. The first Colossi has arrived, but it takes a Nova to the face. Again, not a good start to the fight here. Another EMP lens as well. The final Disruptor goes down. Oh, what has been happening? And now with this breathing room given to Clem, 3-3 is on the way, or at least +3 attack is on the way. He's got his 4th base up and running, fully operational. First Colossi finally arrives, but it may be too little too late at this point. I kind of want to know how many Disruptors. Does anyone have any idea? 10 Disruptors? 12? 15? How many Disruptors have died this game? And imagine if we were able to preserve even 4 or 5 of them. This would be a very different game we would have been seeing. See the Colossi pushing on forward. Mine drop slipping in behind enemy lines, but it looks like Jieshi does get eyes on this. He does spot this ahead of time. Oof, mine shot still goes off, still gets 4 probes. Ay, ay, ay. Another mine drop here as well, getting another 4 probes, 8 in total. Jieshi has stopped worker production, by the way. Jieshi hasn't made a probe in a while, and he's been able to get away with it because he's been keeping his workers alive. But now his economy is taking a pretty big hit. And he is not replacing those workers. Ugh. We do see Vikings now being incorporated, and we're bleeding out too many of these robo units. A Disruptor goes down, a Colossus almost falls as well. Oh. Jieshi just unable to babysit his high-tech units. Take care of your babies, papi. Ah. Even Snipe's going off, because why not? We do have 1 Nova in the chamber. We can try and get one off. Here we go, Jieshi rotating around, but Clem has maxed out. I mean, his 4th base is finally kicked in. Novas are going to be going off, and they do get some good connections, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Colossi get targeted down one after the other. It looks like even though Clem took a massive Nova to the face, he still has too much. Jieshi fought well this game. He fought well, like he had a lead at a certain point. Maybe he got a little bit too nervous. Maybe he got a little bit too anxious after getting that lead. But he had a rough couple of moments afterwards, just losing too many of his disruptors, losing too many high-tech units. We do see the army still on forward. The army of Jieshi has been broken. His 5th base is under threat, and we do have a flanking disruptor, but no, it doesn't go off. It doesn't go off either. There's just too much terror on the ground. We see Clem sigh a little bit on the camera. GG gets called, and Clem takes game number 1. But he had to work for it. He had to work quite hard for it. Ay, ay, ay. GG. GG. Ugh. See in the chat. We thought Jieshi would win earlier, but this game turned out to be a completely different ballpark. Oh, you're an animal. The puns, Papi, the puns. Can we get slightly louder game sounds? We'll work on the audio. The audio is a little bit tricky to work with, just because we are working with a clean feed, but we'll do our best. Do our best to adjust. Yeah, with that, GG. Clem does take the 1-0 lead here against Jieshi. As to be expected, but let's be honest, when it comes to the game itself, it was very close. It was something that Clem had to work hard for. And coming into game 2, I'm sure Clem is a lot more on notice, and that's where I worry a little bit for Jieshi. Jieshi was looking impressive in the first half of game 1, but now his opponent is going to be taking him a little bit more seriously. Now he's going to wake up, just make sure he's present and focused in the game, and it's going to be more difficult for Jieshi to cause an upset in game 2. But this is where the Team GP maneuver comes into play, because Royal Blood is Jieshi's map pick, which means he's had days now to prepare for his opponent. And if he has something special in store for Clem, this is the map to whip it out on. This is it, Papi. This is it. Oh. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. So, yeah. What could Jieshi do here on Royal Blood? I mean, it's not the most quirky of maps, right? I'm thinking of Altitude, I'm thinking of Neo-Humanity, even Dragon Scales or Ancient Cistern. They have certain features that make sense when you see them as a map pick. For Royal Blood, it does feel a little bit more middle of the road. You could argue that maybe, I mean, we have seen a lot of Terran pushes here, punish Phoenix Colossus, so I don't know if that's what we're going to be seeing from Jieshi. I'm curious. I'm very curious to see what he brings to the table. And I hope Clem is ready for this. It did feel like after game 1 in the winners cam, you saw Clem stretch. It looked like he's like, I'm like, maybe he just rolled out of bed, like, I know it's quite early in the land of Europe. I say quite early, I think it's like midday, it's like noon, but it's also noon on a Saturday, so maybe just now waking up. Oh, it's 2 p.m. apparently. Never mind. 2 p.m. But it's 2 p.m. on a Saturday. It's basically morning, right? It's you wake up at 2 p.m. It's fine, Bob. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Especially considering I mean, we know that Clem is a bit of a degen. Clem is one of the few European players that stays up and plays in ESL Open Cup Americas. It's like Clem, Max Pax, and Geralt. They're like the only ones, but here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the French Terran player representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood for CranKy Z Gaming, it is Jieshi. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Would the old Disruptor Diameter have killed enough of Clem's army to have tilted this close game to Jeshi's favor? Discuss. Este, Boptimus Prime. You're an animal. You're an animal. I don't think the increased diameter would have saved Jeshi's Disruptors from dying. Let's be real here. I don't think it was the connections that was the issue there. I think it was their longevity. I think Jeshi's Disruptor lifespan was like 30 seconds. They did not last too long, Papi. They weren't living for too long. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But we are getting into our next game, and you know, it's a best of two. You know, this is of course Jeshi's map pick. This would be his time to shine, to turn it around. And I think if we learned anything from game one, is the fact that we cannot count Jieshi out of this, even though we have to admit that Clem is the clear favorite. He is one of the best Terrans in the world. You don't have a 100% win rate. That's the reality of it. You know, these other players can bring you down from time to time, especially depending on certain conditions. And Jieshi, you know, this could be his moment here. Like, again, he wasn't looking too bad initially in game one. If he's able to bring that form back here in game two, then we could have a very interesting series. He's got it in him, Papi. It's in there. It's in there. He has to just reach deep within, and he'll find it. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Speaking of, a shout out to the... Oh, never mind. I thought the Observer was going to do the sponsors thing, but not yet. Not yet. We'll get there, though. We'll shout out the sponsors momentarily, I'm sure. Speaking of sponsors, chief sponsor, Hypergriff. Get your headset today. I don't know what they... Fun fact, we thought for a long time Rio was an energy drink, and then we saw that it's like 18 plus, and apparently Rio is like, does anyone know what a cruiser is? Rio is like it's like an alcoholic, like Sprite, or like a beverage. Like it's like sparkling alcohol. It's crazy. And speaking of crazy, let's go. It was a Twilight Council opener, and I paid it no mind because I was like, oh, he's going to go for Blink again. No, Jieshi has something special in store for us. He's setting up a proxy pylon across the map. He's going to be going for some DTs. And I do appreciate that he is mixing things up here in game number 2. Oh, but will he be able to keep this hidden? We saw that in game 1, Jieshi did an amazing job at keeping both the Hellion and the Reaper outside of his bases and keeping Clem in the dark as to what the opener was. We'll see if he can do the same. We shall see. As for the time being, the Reaper doesn't quite make it into the natural, or the main is deflected by this full wall off and these two adepts behind this. We have our 1-1-1 setup. I say 1-on-1. It's actually a 2-on-1 setup, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's go. It's been a while. I want to say like 2 months ago. 2 months ago, we saw 2-on-1 like spark in popularity in TVP, and I thought it was crazy. And it was really cool to see players play around with that opener. It's typically something reserved for Zerg players. As I say that, we do have a third Rax. But still, like, it's something that we were able to see from time to time. Here, though, something a little bit different. It was a 1-on-1 into those initial Raxes. Do you have those 2 DTs on the way? Do we have energy for scan? The answer is yes, as long as we don't mule. As long as we don't mule, we're going to be okay. We don't have a Raven. Are we muling? We're not. Okay, we're good. We have the energy for scan. We have units in the natural base. The wall does get raised, and I believe we should be able to clean these up. We have a third DT coming in from behind, though. We do morph in the Archon, and it looks like the recall will up. Just barely save the... Oh my god. The Archon barely escapes with his life. We do force a second scan out as the first DT does go down. But hey, 1 DT for 6 SCVs, not too bad here. Not too bad for Jieshi. We do force a turret in the main base. We have a turret on the way in the natural as well. It's still in production, so it could be delayed here by this first DT. Actually, we're going for the Marines. 2 Marines go down, and 3 Marines in total. Not the best trade from Jieshi, unfortunately. Behind this, he's transitioning into Blink Stalkers. We have a third base on the way. Was this DT opener worth it here for Jieshi? He forced 3 scans. He got 3 Marines, a couple of SCVs. It was okay. I mean, at least he kept the Archon alive. I think that makes it worthwhile for now. We'll see how much the Archon does impact the game itself, as we're going to be progressing further into this. Meanwhile, we're going to be taking up very quickly as well. Jieshi going straight for that Robotics Bay off of a much lower gateway count compared to the last game. So it looks like he's cutting some corners here, and it makes sense, especially because Blink is delayed. Like, he doesn't really have a secure way to shut down drop play. Like, there's no Phoenixes, there's no Blink Stalkers. He's quite vulnerable. And with that vulnerability, he has to, like, get further ahead, you know, like, especially off of that quirky opener, and rushing into a bay like this, rushing into a Forge and Blink, I appreciate it. We even have the first Colossus in production. I guess this also comes into our criticisms of game 1, and that was the disruptors of Jieshi. Thankfully, we're gonna be holding off on the disruptors for now. We're gonna we got Colossus first, Bobby. Colossus first. So thankfully, we'll have at least maybe 2, maybe 3 Colossi before we get into disruptor production, and that is gonna be a safer, more secure form of splash damage here for Jieshi. You love to see it. Of course, disruptors, they have their place, and I don't want to knock on them too much, but they are high risk, high reward, and they require a lot of attention. They require a lot of dedication. You know, they're your baby, right? You got to look after it. You got to, you know, cultivate it into a full grown death ball. That's not quite what we saw earlier. So for now, just going to be relying on Colossi. Clem is in the midst of pushing out with his army. He does get spotted by Jieshi. Is fully aware of the army positioning. We do have a couple of shield batteries on the way. Jieshi getting ready here for this assault. The Colossi is out. Good force fields already cutting up the army of Clem. Then being forced to pick up whatever he could. Does save a couple of those Widow Mines, but for the most part, solid hold here from Jieshi. We can see Clem rotating around, is going for a mine drop in towards the main base, but Jieshi is reading this very well. Stalkers are in position, and this time Blink is done. Oh my god. Blink is done, but we have a boost. It looks like Clem is going to be able to get the hell out of there. Does boost away in time. Meanwhile, Clem is not all in. We do have a third CC being thrown down behind this, so a little bit of a later CC, but on the way nonetheless. Meanwhile, we have a drop here towards the natural, and this one has not been spotted. Up. Oh, no reaction. 11 workers go down. Jieshi may have been able to keep up with one drop, but not with the second. And it wasn't just 11 probe kills. Clem was quick. He was quick to pick up and evacuate those Widow Mines. They're ready to fire another day. They're ready to go back in and get even more damage. Speaking of damage, oh, that DT didn't even get a single Marine. Very quick reaction there out of Clem to just scan it down as fast as possible. Now, that was some good damage and pretty necessary damage. And we talked about it earlier, but Clem, his third base was a little bit delayed. So because of that, doing some economic damage to Jieshi was kind of required in a way. It was definitely nice of him to do so, to actually keep the economy relatively even between the two players. Oh, you see both players just skirmishing here in the center of the map, but Jieshi going to be respecting the army here of Clem. We do see a scan observer will get picked off in the center of the map. Keen eye there by Clem, able to shut that down. Jieshi getting his own fourth base behind this. Again, Jieshi just staying one base ahead of Clem is typically how a TVP does play out. Is where Jieshi needs to be. Oof. Widow Mine shot does go off there, taking out a lot of shields onto those Stalkers. Colossi are in the mix as well. We have a hallucinated disruptor. I love it, Papi. Let's go. He's like, oh no, my disruptor's exposed. But the scan does reveal the hallucinations. Clem will not get baited in, but we are moving out here with those 3 Colossi. We have hit critical mass. And we are looking to try and bully Clem into his own natural base. The Archons are having a hard time engaging. They are, of course, with far shorter range and have a hard time pushing in altogether. We do see the Colossi are being zoned away by the Vikings as well. 1, 2 Colossi go down. And just like that, I feel like Jieshi needs to get the hell out of here. Nice Zealot run by. Is going to be punishing that third base, but we keep pushing in. I don't know if we should. The Zealots are doing well, tanking for the rest of the army, and it looks like we are pushing into the natural. Mine shots go off, the Zealots get cleaned up. The Vikings land once the final Colossus goes down, and it looks like Clem should be able to force this back. Oh, but we have more zealots. We're pushing in, Papi. We're pushing in. Jieshi smells blood in the water. He wants to break the defenses here of Clem. Clem shakes his head on the camera. Even though he killed all of the Colossi, it looks like Jieshi may have too much. It's so close. The target firing. The warp in will finish. Oh my god. The zealot warp in finishes Jieshi. He can keep pushing. Mine shots go off. A little bit of friendly fire as well on the Terran army there, but it looks like Jieshi is being forced back, but we still have that one DT wreaking havoc in the third base. Ay. That was a close hold there for Clem. And Jieshi's not done. The Prism survived. Clem, he just scanned the fourth base. We saw a bit of a reaction there in the camera as well once he did see the saturation on the fourth. He knows that he's not in the best position right now. Because the Prism survived, that means that Jieshi can keep the pressure up. He's making another wave of gateway units. We have a sixth base on the way behind this. Do we have any Robo units? We have a Disruptor. There it goes off. Takes down that Widow Mine. Oh, do we have enough gateway units to really deal with this? I'm concerned that maybe Jieshi is overextending a little bit, especially without zealots. We don't have too much of a Terran army, to be fair, but these marauders, they just chunk away at these stalkers. Jieshi, I feel like we don't need to be here. We are here, and like, I mean, we could still break Clem, sure, but you know, get a second robo, rebuild our Colossi because the Viking count has been reset. But he wants to end the game here and now. He wants things to be over. He's pushing on forward once again. No, but let's go off! Oh my god, the split's not quite what they need to be. Marauders go down. Once again, the Disruptor gets sniped because of course it does, but but this time it was worth it. This time it was worth it for Jieshi. He doesn't want to give Clem breathing room. He doesn't want to let him back into this game. We do now have a second robo on the way. Just now started. Oh my god. Good EMP on the Archon. Archon almost gets focused down. Hot pick up there by Jieshi as he backs off. Never goes off. Oh my, that was a beautiful split. That was a beautiful split coming out from Clem. He avoids Nova. He takes down another Disruptor. And I'm concerned. I'm getting flashbacks of game one. I'm getting flashbacks, Papi. Like Jieshi, he got ahead and you saw that he was maybe sticking around a little bit too long. Another Disruptor is going to be going down for free. Ay. DT harass is across the map, but it gets cleaned up as well. This is slipping out of Jieshi's fingers. Even though Clem was smudging a little bit on stream, on cameras there. Like he did shake his head. Like he had that side, that look that we've seen before. But no, he is now back in this. He's hidden that sixth base as we speak. Oh my god, that's a lot of zealots though. that's a lot of zealots, Papi. Ay. Who needs Disruptors when we have this many charged lots? We blink on forward. Mines are gonna be going down. Medivacs as well. It looks like Clem doesn't have enough. It looks like Jieshi finally has amassed an army strong enough here to break the third. Oh my god. It was close though, Papi. It was close. We had a rough moment there for a while. No disrupt. We don't need no disruptors. No, apparently we do. One of them does hit the field. I think it did hit a mine on its way over. Clem microing his heart out as we speak with what little he has. But once again, the third base is being broken. EMP connects with the army, takes down the Archon. But yeah, I think he knows as well that he just can't come back. Not from this position. GG gets called and Jieshi does it. He takes game number 2. What are we shaking? I don't know. He's shaking it. I can't see. Oh, it's a cat. It's a cat, Papi. What does that mean? I don't know, but GG. GG, well played. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Jieshi taking game 2 here against Clem, tying it up 1-1. Let's be real here. That was almost a 2-0. Almost a 2-0, and even here in game 2, there was a moment where I'm like, Jieshi, we need to calm down, Papi. We need to chill a little bit. And he did back off. You know, he did consolidate his army and take the win in the end. And yeah, congratulations, mate. Congratulations to old mate Jieshi and his cat. Meow. Uwu, Papi. Uwu. Let's go. Who is Papi? Papi's a Polish player, technically. There is a Polish player called Papi. That is not who I'm referring to though when I say that. But yeah, GG, very well played here by Jieshi, the underdog. I mean, Clem is the ace player. Clem is the strongest player that Team Liquid have, and for him to struggle in the first matchup does not bode well. This doesn't bode well here for Team Liquid. They needed the 2-0 here, especially coming into these other two mirror matchups. Without the 2-0, oh boy. Chat, people in the chat, Team Liquid, they need your energy, they need your support, and who better to get your support? SKillous is going to be coming out with a strong 69 in that player score, but he's up against the best Protoss in Korea, arguably the best Protoss in the world, Hero. Than 84, true, Papi, true. As sporting in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid, SKillous. And in the top right-hand corner for DKZ Gaming, the red Protoss, Hero. Here we go. The mirror matchups are upon us. The first of many. Again, as a reminder, after this, we do have a ZVZ as well between Dark and Elazer. But we'll see if SKillous can succeed where his teammate did struggle a little bit. For the time being, we have some pretty standard openers. We have a 2-gate opener from both players. No one is crazy enough to pull a Max Pax. What is pulling a Max Pax? That is on Royal Blood to go for a gate expand. He's crazy like that. it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But we can see here both players are respecting one another. No one is trying to take an early economic lead. No one is going for any kind of gate expand shenanigans or even probes out on the map either. Just 2-gate openers all around. Let's go. Ten got cut on the prediction. Oh. Yeah, shout out to Kura. She's showing the viewer predictions whenever she can as well, on stream. I say viewer predictions. If you want to take part in the predictions that have been popping up from time to time, I haven't been able to see them myself, unfortunately. But if you want to take part in that, then join the Discord server. We do have a channel dedicated to WTL predictions, and that is where we aggregate the numbers and get the scores and crunch them all together and bring you the percentages of what people think will be the score here, like 2-0 one way, 2-0 the other, or 1-1. If you're interested, !Discord in the chat. Unfortunately, we're near the end of the season. Like, we're already at week 9 of 11, by the way, so we don't have that many weeks left, so it's going to be difficult to catch up when it comes to catching up with all the people that have already been predicting since the beginning, but you know, it's never too late. If you just want to take part. Behind this, from our 2-gate openers, of course, we do have a little bit of a different... We have SKillous delaying his Nexus and going for a Stargate. We have Hero delaying his Nexus and going for a Robo instead. My oh my. So SKillous is going to be the aggressor. With that Stargate opener, he should be going into Oracles, and his goal here is to deal harassing damage with both of his Adepts and his Oracles as well. So going for a bit of multi-pronged aggression to get economic damage done. Hero with the Robo follow-up is looking to be, I was going to say more defensive. If you look at the production tab, that's a 3rd gate. He's setting up for a 1-base all-in. Hero wants to end this sooner rather than later with that 3rd gateway. He's going to have a lot of production to work with. With that Robo, he can go into a Prism instead of an Immortal and just zoom across the map. And there it is. Prism is on the way. Hero is committed to the 1-base all-in. The Adept slips in, gets 2 probe kills, and it forces the activation of that Oracle. And this is dangerous. The Oracle wastes time at home, which means SKillous is still in the dark. SKillous won't have that Oracle across the map in time to really scout what's going on, but the wall is not a wall. The Adepts do make it in, and this Adept should get eyes on the gates. I don't know if it saw it. I mean, even if it didn't, he saw the lack of natural. So he should know that Hero is all in. The Oracle is going to confirm it. We have the Oracle coming in from behind. He gets eyes on the 3rd gate and on the Robo as well. SKillous now knows exactly what's going on, and back at home, he's reacting. He throws down 2 shield batteries and a Robo, but is it too late? Is this too much of a late reaction for SKillous? That's what I'm concerned about. He cancels the Nexus. Let's go. Nexus gets canceled. We're looking to just hold on to the main base. We throw down a stasis trap at the ramp as well, but was it scouted by Hero? Does he see? Does he know? Oh, are we gonna bait him in? Bait him in, puppy! Up! Oh my god, and it looks like, oh, Hero! He baits out the stasis trap, the hot pickup on the Stalker. Stasis trap goes off on nothing. The Oracle has done nothing here in the defense. Gateway goes down. This is dangerous because we have very limited production available here for SKillous. He doesn't have a lot to work with. He can only warp in one unit at a time. He's got an Immortal on the way, but we have Adepts that can shade past the shield battery. Oracle zoom across the map, but we even have Stalkers back at home to defend. Hero is ready for it. Ay, ay, ay. Hero was ready for the Oracles. He breaks through. He gets the second gateway, which means 0 gateways. 0 gateways here for SKillous. He has a third gateway on the way, or now a replacement first gateway on the way to try to get some production going here. But he loses 7 more workers. That Immortal is holding the line for now, but that's a lonely Immortal. That Immortal doesn't have a lot of boys to support him. Where are the Stalkers? Where are the Sentries? They're all mainly gone, Papi. That is so exposed. We're diving on the Immortal immediately. We do have a shield battery to support it, but the shield battery does get focused down. That means that there is no overcharge. And Hero has a little bit too much. SKillous may have seen this coming ahead of time, but it was too late by that point. It was a late scout of the all-in. It was a late reaction as well from SKillous, and as a result, he just wasn't able to muster up a defense in time. 14 probes go down. Pylons falling one after the other. We have one Immortal left. We do have those Oracles putting in a lot of work across the map, to be fair, but Hero still has an overwhelming army here, an overwhelming force, as he snipes another pylon. Oh god, supply blocking SKillous, not like this, Papi, not like this. SKillous has a gateway, by the way, but it is depowered, so he's going to try and repower those gateways. He still only has 2 units to work with. Did I say 2? I meant to say 1, because the force fields completely cut off that Immortal. GG gets called, and Hero takes game number 1 against SKillous. Whew. GG. Oh, was there something written on Hero's cup? Was there like a paper attached to it? Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe I'm blind. GG though, well played. Hero does take the first game with a very well executed one base all in. Again, SKillous, it took him a little bit too long to figure out what was happening and to figure out what was going on. Eventually he did, and then he cancelled his natural, he threw down shield batteries, he threw down a robo. But again, imagine all of that, but 20 seconds earlier. Like, every second counts here in StarCraft. It's such a high octane, high paced game. You don't have a lot of time to react, you don't have a lot of time to muster up defenses, and as we saw there, SKillous just wasn't able to get enough there to defend in the end. But we also had some really crisp moves out of Hero. Like, his force fields were, they were so on point. The bait on the stasis trap as well with that prism. That was some pretty slick moves, not gonna lie. I mean, Hero, he's the best Protoss in Korea for a reason. He's arguably the best Protoss in the world for a reason as well. He has really good control, really good micro, the best micro. And, yeah, did show that off in game 1. But now it is SKillous, his map of choice. SKillous' map of choice, and he is coming in prepared. SKillous, he has had quite a number of days here to prepare for Hero. The lineups are announced ahead of time to the players, so they are able to get their strategies ready to warm up for that PvP, to study their opponents as well. And SKillous wants to bring it all back here on Babylon. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. It's the cup of lemonade he is selling. As we are loading into our next game and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner for Team Liquid, it is SKillous. They were quick with that intro. And in the top left-hand corner for CranKy Gaming, the red Protoss, Hero. They're just blazing through them. Damn. And we were talking about standard openers previously, how on Royal Blood, because there's no ramp coming into the natural, both players went for 2 gate openers. Here on Babylon, it is much more sensible to go for a gate expand instead, and that's what we're seeing. Why? Because we have a ramp. The ramp provides such a defensive bonus here to the to either player, and as a result, they feel comfortable enough to go for a more economic opener instead. Now, this could still lead into an all-in. We've seen one base all-ins on ramp maps before. It's a little bit harder to pull off, but it's a little bit more out of left field. It's more unexpected, unpredictable. So we could maybe see something crazy like that. For the time being, both players are just going to be looking to delay each other's natural base for as long as possible. They both have probes. We should be seeing some pylon blocks, and ideally we force out a zealot from our opposing player. Oh, as Hero opens up with a 2-gate. Oh my god. Okay, Hero. Looking to be a little bit more aggressive. This is what I was talking about, where you can still be aggressive on these maps. It's unpredictable, but you can do it. And Hero opens up with a 2-gate, so he is going to be delaying his Nexus here. He doesn't even, I believe he didn't even have a probe across the map, so SKillous gets his own Nexus up and running. I think Hero may go for a proxy. I'm very curious. Yeah, SKillous, he's committed to his gate expand. Hero confirms it. He sees the base, and now he has the option, if he wants to throw down a proxy pylon and throw down a... Yeah, he's crazy, Poppy. Let's go. There's that proxy pylon. Hero, he's going for another one bait. Hero, he's got some places to be. You know, he's got a dinner date with his wife. You know, he's got better things to do, right? This PvP, mate, it's going to be over here in 10 minutes. One way or another, this series will be over as the pylon has been thrown down. There's a prime location for a proxy robo, or even just a third gate, or both, because why the hell not? Yeah, Hero is just cranking out those stalkers. We do see SKillous scouting the edges of the map, not really too convinced about what's going on, and there it is. There's that third gate from Hero. His probe barely manages to escape the clutches of SKillous as well. And SKillous, he has scouted the gateway, but Hero, he is here in time. He has the Stalker advantage because of the 2-gate opener, and he's able to kill the first Stalker of SKillous. Oh, but he has to be very careful here not to lose one of his own. And it looks like he will. So we trade one Stalker for one Stalker. The shield battery finishes up just in time. An even trade for SKillous. I say an even trade, a better trade for SKillous, because he's the defender and he... You know, he has to try and kill as much as he can. He has to try to trade as efficiently as possible. The pressure is on Hero to keep his own units alive, to preserve his units, to make this one base all in work. And here we go. We do see now with 3 Stalkers trying to overpower that shield battery. The shield battery does run out of energy, and ideally he will force the overcharge prematurely. We do have a pylon in the main base as well, just keeping the attention of SKillous out of here. There's that overcharge. We will respect it. We will back off. But again, now that means that there's going to be a period here. There's going to be a window where we don't have an overcharge available for SKillous. And now we are just working up that Stalker out. Oh my god, we're warping into Adepts! The Adepts are being warped into the main base. At the same time, we have Hero knocking down the front door. The Stalkers are forced to react. They have to react because these Adepts are going to get out of control. Oh no. And because the Stalkers are not at the natural, because they're here in the main base, the natural is exposed. It is compromised. Everything gets depowered. Thankfully, we have a couple of backup pylons. The Immortal comes out in time. Hero still hasn't expanded, by the way. Hero is still committed. Oh, but there we go. He throws down a Nexus as we speak. It looks like Hero has recognized that maybe he just can't end the game. Not anymore. He's going to try to, but the force fields from SKillous are too good. 2 sentries get caught out. We have a recall. And we managed to save one of those sentries at least. But SKillous is in a pretty good position now. Like, he's got the worker lead. He's got the Immortal. He's got the high ground. He's got the shield batteries. He will have an overcharge. SKillous survives. And now Hero is in a really rough position. Hero, he had a cheeky move with that warp into the main base. It almost worked. He was almost able to break SKillous. But now he's straight up playing from behind. He straight up has a base deficit, a worker deficit. Soon an army deficit as well. As Hero's getting into his own Immortals, and... yeah, this is the moment here for SKillous to shine. How does he react? How does he respond? Well, SKillous is going for a Twilight Council to get into Blink, I imagine. We have a War Prism on the way. That War Prism does signify that SKillous wants to be aggressive. He wants to be active on the map. It looks like he's setting up for an Immortal drop. Risky move, but can get a lot of value. Risky because obviously SKillous, he has to make sure he keeps that Prism alive and he doesn't get caught out. We can see that Hero is being very active with his Stalkers. We're going to try to catch anything moving out. But again, with good enough micro, with good enough control, SKillous can get a lot of damage done with this drop. Especially because Hero, he doesn't... oh my god, he doesn't have Blink, but Hero, he threw down a Stargate and he's making Phoenixes. And I love that. A Phoenix is going to completely shut this down. I mean, it's still on the way, to be fair, but once it does come out, we are going to force a recall. There we go. The Immortals are dropped. The Phoenix shows up, and oh, we pick up the Immortal, but we have the recall. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. The Immortal barely survives. That was a clutch recall. It would have been disastrous. It would have been disastrous if SKillous had even lost that one immortal. Does save everything, does preserve all of his units. And he's also now aware of the Phoenixes. We see Hero. He's got to cut corners. I love this decision. Hero, he's rushing into a bay on 2 bases. A robotics base on the way. That is for disruptors. Even if you have a 10, 20, 30 supply deficit, a disruptor, a good Nova can change everything. Stalkers do zoom across the map, and they're going to be at least scouting the natural, just confirming what exactly he's up against. Maybe pick off a unit here or there whenever he can. Likewise, we have an immortal drop here, and we do force a cancel on the 3rd base. Hero making some magic happen with the bare minimum amount of units. At the same time, 2 Phoenixes do slip into the main base as well. It looks like we have the Prism being focused down, though. We're forced to recall, and Hero, it started off well. He canceled the 3rd, but we see SKillous, he even nodded. After killing that one immortal, he's like, oh, I got this, man. Let's go. He was feeling that immortal snipe. Hero in a lot of trouble right now. He's working on his first disruptor, but his opponent has Blink, so even with a good Nova, like SKillous, he has the capacity here to avoid it. He's moving out across the map. Has the army supply lead. Massive amount of Stalkers, Immortals. And because he has Blink, he can bypass the wall and he can just go straight into the main. He doesn't have to push into the natural. Oh, but he wants to. Here we go. We blink on forward. He focuses down the first disruptor. We have the overcharge. Boys are being pulled, but everything is being focused down one after the other. The disruptor, the immortal. SKillous has too much. Hero, he tried to make the 1 base all-in work 2 games in a row. Very cheeky stuff, but he was unable to pull it off here on Babylon. A Nova goes off once again. It will connect. Oh my god. But even with that Nova, is it going to be enough? We do pick up that one immortal. We do have the boys being pulled. Hero. He's desperately trying to hold on. But alas, there's only so much he can do. We have another warp in here into the natural base of Hero. We can see him smile. A cheeky smile as well. He knows. GG gets called. Whew. And SKillous takes game number 2, tying things up 1-1. And we have a series. I was really concerned about the 2-0. I was concerned that after Clem dropped a game against Jieshi, that the rest of his team would be in trouble, but no. SKillous, he fights back. He punishes Hero for trying to 1 base all in on Babylon. And it's so much. The reason why, if you remember, I was like, he's crazy, Pop. He's crazy. Trying to 1 base all in on Babylon is so much more difficult compared to the other maps because of that ramp, you know, because of that ramp, you need high ground vision. You have such a major advantage here for SKillous, and we saw him flex that so well. It was close, to be fair. Like, Hero almost pulled it off, but not quite. He wasn't able to supersede the advantages of not just the map, but also of SKillous's play as well. GG, well played. We are neck and neck. We are neck and neck 1-1 or 2-2 here in this Team League match, and it all comes down to this. Elazer versus Dark. A ZVZ. And just like the previous series, I would say that Elazer or Dark is the favorite. The CranKy Z player is the favorite, but in a mirror matchup with some prepared builds, Elazer can turn this around. He can put a point on the board, and one game is all Elazer needs, and then he forces the ace match, and then Clem can redeem himself. Then Clem can come out. I mean, it doesn't have to be Clem, to be fair, but should be Clem, and then he can redeem himself. There's a world where maybe even Elazer 2-0s, which would be crazy. that would be crazy. The most that I would ask of him, one game is all he needs to force the ace match, and then anything could happen in that best of 1. He's up against Dark, though, and Dark has some of the best ZVZ in the world. He has some of the best late game ZVZ as well, if the game does head in that direction. This is still going to be a tough ask here for Elazer. Now, we have seen Dark struggle against early game aggression before. Massive shout out to Eric, for example. Eric has wiped the floor with Dark time and time again, but Eric is a very unique player. He's very special. I don't think Elazer is the kind of player to go for these like offbeat kind of roach timings or all-ins. Like, he's not really, he's a little bit more straight up, I should say. But on a map like Neo Humanity, I feel like you have to be a little bit quirky. You have to be a little bit weird on this map because this map does just favor aggressive play, especially in ZVZ. So we'll see if both of our players here can adapt to the map, specifically Elazer. I know Dark's probably coming into this prepared. I'm sure Dark even is messaging Hero like, lol. They always banter with each other. In the moment, is he ready for it here and now? He needs to be. He needs to be for his team. And for himself as well, to be fair. Oh, God. This series has been pretty spicy. I think coming into this, I think you can tell in the predictions as well. I think most people... Yo, Rainer confirming as well. Yo, shout out to Rainer, letting us know that, yeah, Dark did message Hero. What's going on, Papi? Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Confirmation from the chat. What was I going to say? I can't remember. All right. Coming into this series, I think a lot of us just assumed it would be a little bit more one-sided in certain aspects. I think we saw that in the predictions as well. When it comes to the first two series, even, you know, I think Hero and Clem came in as the favorites. Let's be real. And this series has just been so much more dynamic than we ever really did expect. And hopefully the trend continues. You know, I would love an ace match. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but like even trying to predict who DKZ Gaming send out in the ace match as well, like would be difficult to predict, right? They have so many heavy hitters. They have Dark, they have Hero. I'm uncertain about the rules, but they may be able to field Oliveira as well. I don't know if they're restricted to only fielding the players that competed today, or if they're able to, like, you know, if they're able to pull in like another player from their roster. So if that is possible, then again, that does kind of change things as well. That adds like another dynamic to that ace match, another curveball, if you will, a wild card. So yeah, we'll see if it does get to that. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, you know, but it's Elazer though. He just uno más, papi. He just needs one more. Uno más. One game is all he needs. Let's go. Players just getting ready here, getting their lobbies ready. Ay. I need Italian pasta, Rainer. I'm hungry. I'm starving. I'm starving for some StarCraft. As here we go, loading in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity. We have the Polish Zerg player for Team Liquid, Elazer. And in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent for DKZ Gaming, Dark. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. It all comes down to this. We are tied up 2-2 in this Team League match, and maybe people assumed that it would be 2-2 because Clem would 2-0 Jieshi and Hero would 2-0 SKillous, but no, we have been neck and neck in every one of these best of twos. And yeah, we'll see if that continues to be the trend here in this final best of two of this Team League match. For the time being, we have hatch first all around. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. No one is going for any kind of early gas first shenanigans or pool first shenanigans. I'm sure Dark would be more than willing to, and I'm sure maybe he'll mix it in at some point in this series. But at least for game one, we're all just going for a hatch gas pool opener. Very standard stuff. Nothing too crazy as we are following these lovely overlords. Now would be a good time actually to show off the logos, the sponsors. Never mind, it's fine. Don't worry about it, Fabi. Don't worry about it. And yeah, Neo Humanity, it's honestly become a really entertaining map to cast, to be honest. Like, we have such extremes on Neo Humanity, at least when it comes to the other matchups. ZVZ, not as much. I mean, we have seen some late game ZVZ in the past. Viper versus Viper, I should say. It's so good. it's so much fun to cast. Let's go. But yeah, Neo Humanity, it does kind of lend towards either, you know, hyper aggression just because of the short rush distance, just because you can knock down those rocks and spread and create these creep highways and just be hyper aggressive and in the face of your opponents. Otherwise, there are also a lot of choke points as well. There are a lot of narrow pathways around the third base, around the would-be fourth bases as well, that make it difficult to push into as the attacking player. So yeah, because of that, we have seen some split map scenarios in the past. We've seen some very quick games as well with some all-ins. We have seen it all here. And again, that's why I appreciate casting Neo Humanity. I don't enjoy playing on it. I'll be honest, Papi. I'll be honest. Playing on it, no, it's not for me. Not for me. I did unveto it recently, but it wasn't my choice. As for the time being, Dark is taking his third base on time as well, same with his opponent. The location of the third is a little bit different though. We can see Dark taking the forward hatchery instead. Quite an exposed base, but it does kind of give him access to that rich Vespian gas geyser. It also allows him to launch pad that creep forward here through the center of the map as well if he does want to commit to a push. So a very aggressive base here is taken by by Elazer. My apologies, I was mixed around. By Elazer, and Dark going for a much more standard triangular third base here instead. I love like the twist here from Elazer. Again, I feel like we're looking at him to bring something different to the table and to take that center base. You love to see it. Also, I did it again. If you've been listening to some of these WTL casts, because in the UI, Dark is at the bottom and Elazer's at the top. It's happened before where I mixed them up. I apologize for that. I apologize. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Yes, Dark is at the top, Elazer at the bottom. My brain will remember. As Dark is making quite a number of lings here, cutting a little bit earlier on. A massive flood of lings is going to be coming out from Dark Luna to try and punish this exposed hatchery here of Elazer. We'll see if he can pull it off. We have banelings on the way from Elazer as well. We have the Queen brought to the front lines. Dark is going to be respecting that for the time being, but we do have those banelings being morphed in the face of his opponent. The banelings of Elazer are coming in. Up. And it looks like they are going to be forcing Dark back. We see Dark trying to be a little bit cheeky and waddle a couple of banelings into the natural base, but no, they do not connect. One of them does connect, though, at the third. Oh, God, those drones are so softened up, and the banelings don't quite find the connections, but the lings do focus down every single one of those drones. 6 workers do go down. Not just the workers, the queens as well. In the midst of all this chaos, Dark, he's just getting the better trade. He doesn't just get one queen, he's going to get the next one. Elazer just being pulled apart here in the Ling Bane micro. The queen's being caught off of creep as well. It looks like with these reinforcements, Elazer should be able to force this back, but he did take a lot of losses. Yeah, these banelings were a little bit ambitious from Dark. They buy him a little bit of time, but Elazer, for the most part, is forcing this back. The banelings, it looks like some of them may finish, though, and with the completion of these banelings, Dark, he can keep pushing. Oof. Solid connection there in the slow zone, but Elazer holds on. He still maintains a worker lead. We can see here 6 workers and 3 queens went down. The queens are probably a pretty major part here. Does slow down his injects, his macro, his creep spread. But Elazer wants to try to go for that counterattack. And is Dark ready for this? He has 1 baneling on the way. Roaches are coming out as well, but he doesn't have any banelings ready for this. But the roaches, they are going to be the backbone of his army, and they do force Elazer back. And after the dust does settle, Elazer still maintains a bit of a worker lead, but his army is lacking. That's the problem here. Dark was able to rush into these roaches far faster than Elazer could have hoped for, and we do see those roaches making it past the halfway point. The tower's trying to be knocked down, but they won't come down in time. Banelings do get focused by said roaches. The lings do survive. They're looking for a wraparound on these queens, and there's not enough to buffer. There's not enough to protect them. The queens are going to fall. The lings as well. We do have a spine crawler, which does help, but alas, there's just not enough to support this army. The third base has been broken. We do have 15 roaches on the way from Elazer. Are they going to come out in time to save the base itself? Oh, the surround! I'm sure Dark was hoping for lings to come out from that, but alas, they were roaches. They do manage to slip out of the clutches of Dark. That third hatchery still under threat. Dark, he doesn't want the hatchery. He wants the army. Once again, he does trap those roaches. He gets us around. And the efficiency here from Dark is just too great. His roaches are attacking the gas geyser, but it doesn't matter. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. Whew. After a really intense game 1, by the way. A lot of aggression early on, a lot of Ling Bane, a lot of chaos was ensuing, and in the midst of that chaos, Elazer was having a hard time keeping up. With the momentum of Dark. And at the same time, I'm sure that a big reason for the aggressiveness of Dark was the hatchery taken as well. We were talking about it for Elazer to take that forward base. It is a little bit more exposed, it's a little bit more aggressive, and it can be harder to hold on to. And Dark, upon seeing that, was like, yo, me? You really gotta try and expand here against me? We'll see if you really can. We'll see if you can get away with that. And alas, could not in the end. And Dark does take the first game, but we were talking about it before. This is where the Team GP maneuver comes into play. Elazer may have lost game 1, but game 2, it is his map of choice. Of course, it is his map pick, and I'm sure he's coming in even more prepared. This is his moment to come back in this series. Near Humanity, it's a weird map. You know, it's a quirky map. There, you know, it's the smallest map of the map pool. Short rush, it's fine. We can forget about game 1. It's all about game number 2, and I'm sure Elazer will be feeling much more comfortable here on Royal Blood. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. I just saw the copy pasta. You're all animals, Poppy. You're all animals. I want Poppy's big, hairy, sweaty arms to hold me so tight while he kisses his lemonade stand like no tomorrow. I want him to call me my Papi Chulo. God. I'm gonna scream back. Let him cook. I'm Italian. Yeah. As he holds me down and spanks my Papi with his big lemonade hands. Who started this? Oh my God. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Quack, Papi, quack. As we're getting into our next game, into game number 2, and as we saw in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Dark for DKZ Gaming. In the top right, we have Elazer for Team Liquid. This time, the names do correspond with their location. You love to see it. Oh my God, I can see in the live feed, Kuro's letting me know the pasta is evolving, Papi. It's evolving. Not like this. Not like this. But yeah, we are getting into our second game. Once again, pretty standard openers. We have a hatch gas pool from both of our players, so no early game aggression or no additional, no pool first, no gas first or anything crazy like that. No gasless opener even. And again, I do feel like Elazer is going to have a bit of an easier time or a better time here getting into the mid game. Again, trying to hold on to that forward hatchery can be quite a difficult thing to do. And of course, Dark is willing to take advantage of that base as well, as we saw in that last game. Here on Royal Blood, I'm sure Elazer would have a bit of an easier time here expanding and taking his third and keeping up with Dark. But we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Hey. WTL casts are always extra special. They are. I was saying earlier, leading into this cast, I was talking about how, like, I don't have Asher with me today, so we're not going to get rowdy, Papi. Like, we're not going to get too out of hand. We're not going to, you know, devolve into sexual innuendos and moaning on stream. But we're getting there. Even without Asher, Papi. I don't need some. I can do it on my own. I can take care of myself. Aye. As we're getting, let's move on. As we're getting into game 2. Third base being taken on time here for both of our players as well. So again, nothing too crazy. Behind this, we should be throwing down some Veiliness as well, momentarily once we do have the gas for it. As both players send out a couple of links here to just get an eye on things, make sure that their third bases are on time, that there is no kind of weird divergence here in the build. Dark does throw down his Bailey Nest, as is expected of him. We can see that Elazer hasn't, though. He's actually holding off on it instead. He does have the gas for it, but he is opting to preserve that gas instead. Is actually making a decent flood of lings. Oh, he does want to try and be hyper aggressive here with pure ling and skip the Bailey Nest entirely, going straight into roaches. Bold move here by Elazer. Bold move. Can he out-control the Bailings of his opponent? Can he make this ling flood worth it? That is the question. As Dark, oh, he's actually hidden his Bailey Nest behind his mineral line. For all Elazer knows, Dark likewise is also skipping on those Bailings, and they could be a bit of a surprise to him. As we do see lings flooding on now, going to be threatening that third base of Dark. But of course, the Bailings are on the way. The Queens are being brought forward as well. Hatchery is taking a lot of hits, to be fair, but the Bailings have arrived, and with the arrival of the Bailings, Dark does hold on to his third base. But again, Elazer, he hasn't lost too much here. He's just been chipping away, poking at that third. We have roach production commencing as well. Elazer looking to try and flood across the map with said roaches, trying to keep Dark's attention at home as well. Try to keep him in the dark. And we'll see if he can pull it off. Before that, though, we're just going to be droning Dark, going for his own Roach Horn on time, as to be expected. What's interesting is that Dark isn't really being too aggressive either. Like, after deflecting the initial lings, like, he's not moving out across the map with his own Banelings. He does get eyes on those Roaches. Now he has confirmation that, of course, his opponent did skip that Baneling nest. His opponent has been arguably a little bit more efficient with the use of their gas. And likewise, Dark is just going to have to allow that to pass and get into Roaches of his own. And really, I feel like we're going to be keeping an eye on the worker counts. Because Dark is making a lot of Roaches. He's cut workers here at 35, and we'll see if he does take another gas, because he's still working off of one gas as well. No, he's not. He's going to be pushing out here. 35 workers is... okay. He makes a wave of drones. It's all good. It's all good. Is saturating his bases behind this. It looks like he's just ensuring that he is safe and sound against any kind of aggression from his opponent. Likewise, Elazer also squeezing out some workers. It's all good. Just going to be droning. Just going to be chilling here. And with this, it does feel like Elazer has a bit of a lead here, just with how the game has opened up overall. We have a lead here with +1 range as well. We see his opponent trying to make up for that with double Evo chambers. With those double upgrades. The chat's getting rowdy. I'm gonna stay away from it for now, Poppy. I'm staying away. I would not take the bait. But yeah, we're just gonna be slowly getting into the mid game from this point. But Dark, once again, actually stopping at a lower drone count here. Far lower than his opponent. Elazer has been able to saturate quite heavily here on his 3 bases. We have that layer on the way behind this to get into Roach speed, to work towards +2 as well once +1 kicks in. So not looking too bad. Earlier I was talking about how like Dark, he was cutting workers early on and making and amassing Roaches, and we can see that's kind of hurting him in the end. It's taking him a much longer time to catch up in the saturation here compared to Elazer. He's getting there, don't get me wrong, but Elazer has been mining more for longer. And in a mirror matchup, you know, that can be all the difference. All the difference that we do need. Likewise, Elazer just finished up his lair. He can start working towards Roach speed and +2 as soon as that upgrade does finish. And have quite a window that he can work with. Unless I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure the lair did finish for Elazer. Yeah, there we go. Roach speed is on the horizon. So this is going to be a pretty strong timing here for Elazer. Oh my god, and he's even going to be sneaking out a Spire as well. Bold move. I don't think it's necessary. Like, I mean, like, he still would have had a pretty strong +2 timing nonetheless, but he wants to just capitalize on his worker advantage, on his gas advantage. Likewise, great minds think alike. Dark also going for said Spire. For the most part, they are headed in the same direction. And Elazer slightly ahead in those upgrades, but at the same time, it's only kind of like seconds ahead, to be fair. Not the largest windows that can be taken advantage of. As both players are just going to be posturing, poking, prodding, moving out, maneuvering with their army. Not really committing to anything, as Dark slips into the natural base, gets eyes on the Spire. He's aware of what's going on, and I mean, thankfully, he's got a Spire of his own. We'll see who commits. We'll see if even Elazer commits. Now that he's been scouted, he may be deterred from making too many mutas. It's possible. We'll see what decision he does make. Likewise, I don't believe Elazer was able to scout his opponent. At least we haven't seen that on camera yet. So there we go. We do have 6 mutas on the way for Elazer. We have the Roach army as well, looking to try and hit this 4th base. Elazer does have the army lead, but it looks like he is a little bit cut off here. There we go. We do have quite an army split off, headed towards the natural base. Yeah, and Elazer has an overwhelming force here at the 4th. He's slowly breaking on through, forcing Dark away from the hatchery. And yeah, Dark, he knows he doesn't have enough to hold on. The hatchery will fall. Likewise, we have Elazer taking a good fight as well here outside the natural. And Elazer is pulling this off. Again, we still don't have +2. It hasn't quite kicked in, but he has the numbers, and the numbers are all that matters. Meanwhile, the Mutas have hit the field as well, and there's very little that does shoot up. We have a couple of Queens, but that is it. We're getting into Corruptors. They can work against Mutas, but of course, they do take a long time to produce, so there's a lot of potential here for these Mutas to get even more damage, as Dark is contained here to 4 bases. Mutas hunting down whatever they can. A couple of Overlords are looking a little bit exposed. So potentially a lot of kills there for those Mutas. There we go. 2 Overlords already going to be going down. Likewise, +2 has kicked in for Elazer. It's on the horizon for Dark. But again, we can still take advantage of that. And Elazer is going to be doubling down on Roaches. I thought that maybe he would try and transition into something like Hydra Lurker, but no, we have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on the way. He's looking to commit here to pure Roach. He dives on top of the army once again. +2 still not done for Dark. Still seconds away from completing, and it looks like Elazer was able to take the fight just before that did kick in. With the defender's advantage, with the reinforcements, it looks like Dark should be able to hold on though. Oh, that was that was a little bit close, as these Mutants are fighting more damage. Oh my god. Did I say 2 Overlords? That's 4, soon to be 5 and 6 Overlords going down from the side of Dark. Likewise, the Corruptors are also doing a lot of damage across the map as well. Also find a couple of Overlords. And they do create an opening here for the ground army. But likewise, kind of like with Dark earlier, we do have the defender's advantage. Reinforcements come out just in time. Elazer does hold onto his base, but oh my god, they want the hatchery! They gotta get it! Mate, Corruptors are insane in ZVZ. They're crazy, Poppy. They're crazy. The natural base does go down. And these Overlords are so exposed. Oh my god. But it doesn't matter. Elazer, he's had enough. He's sending everything across the map. He doesn't want to deal with these Corruptors. But he's kind of playing into his opponent's hands here. We have plenty of Roaches to defend. We have more than enough. Actually, Dark will take this fight. Meanwhile, the Corruptors still have not been dealt with. Heavily supply blocking Elazer. And they shouldn't get another hatchery here, but 8 Overlords. Oh, no, sorry. 8 Overlords went down for Dark? Question mark? Or from Dark? Regardless, the Corruptors are still active, looking for even more damage. Ay, ay, ay. And this is really hindering Elazer, not gonna lie. Like, his production has been kind of deterred. We do have his supply as well, as more Overlords are going down. Mutas haven't really been able to contest against this. Throughout all this, though, bearing in mind... Oh, that's a kill. I think that's a kill, not a cancel. Bearing in mind that Dark has been contained to 3 bases. He still doesn't have a 4th base up and running. As Elazer has a 5th, or I guess 4 bases as well, as his natural was sniped. So Dark doesn't have the most efficient mining going on right now. God, these Corruptors are they're getting more damage, Papi. Ay, ay, ay. How? They're looking for more Overlords. As Dark hasn't teched up in a different direction, he's actually now going into Mutas. I love this decision, by the way. Like, the Corruptors, for the most part, have control of the skies, so why not go for Mutas? As they look to take down another hatchery. Ay, ay, ay. These Corruptors have more than paid for themselves. Meanwhile, we do have Elazer. Again, he's had enough. He wants to try to collapse on this army. He goes for the surround, coming in from behind and from the front. Oh, it looks like this engagement should be working out better here for Elazer, but the Mutas are coming out. The Mutas will be able to clean everything up. Oh, they do support the army well enough, and Elazer, his army is slowly petering out. Yeah, Dark has more than enough to completely clean this up. He holds onto his 3rd base. Preserves the Muta count. He forces Elazer to go into Corruptors of his own. What is happening this game? Corruptor versus Corruptor. Let's go. As we find even more Overlords. Dark will finally get his 4th base up and running. Chance uses, okay, we'll barely keep those Overlords alive as the Elazer gets into his own Corruptors. We can see that even though Dark, he may be on a lower worker count, like, he's just been taking some more efficient fights overall. He's finally able to get his 4th base up and running. As we do see him try to avoid said corruptors, he's headed towards that mining base, the third base, and it's so exposed. There is no spore. Drones getting picked off one after the other. Oh, we do have to respect the corruptors, though. I just never thought I'd see this. What we're seeing right here. Corruptor v Corruptor. Dark transitioning into Hydras, soon to be Lurkers, I imagine, if he makes it that far. How the turns do table. Elazer knows. He knows the power of the Corruptor. He can shut down these overlords. He can take down bases. There's nothing to stop him. He can totally take down the third base of Dark. For the time being, going to be just focusing down these overlords. Dark bypassing the army. She's trying to buy time with these mutas as he does work towards those Hydras. Hydra Den is now done. I don't believe we've seen a Lurker Den yet from Dark, as... there we go, he's just working on those Hydra upgrades. Range on the way. Both players have now maxed. Bearing in mind that Elazer has invested quite a lot into these Corruptors, so his ground army is going to suffer as a result. Up! He will not have the largest Roach Ravager army here to contest against Dark. Bear that in mind. Despite both players being maxed, I do think that Dark maybe has the better army. He doesn't have it in position, though. We do see Elazer pushing on forward here. Again, this hatchery looks so exposed. The hatchery will go down. Oh my god. Likewise, the Corruptors take down the fourth base of Dark as well, knocking him down to 2 bases. Dark still has a pretty powerful army, don't get us wrong. But alas, this will eat into his production, his larva, his economy. Corruptors, they're cracked, buddy. It's insane. As Dark is committing into this counterattack, kind of pushing into Elazer himself. And that's kind of what he wants. He wants to fight here on his ground with his reinforcements. The pressure is on Dark to make something happen, but he's dropping in supply. He may get the hatchery, and it looks like the base will go down. Oh my god, and a lot of biles will connect on the army of Elazer. But we can see Dark plummet in supply. We have a couple of roaches going for the counterattack as well. Elazer has finally done it. Earlier, he did have his own lead and his own advantage, but Dark was bringing it back with the mutas, with the Corruptors. And Elazer, he knew what he was missing. Corruptors of his own, Bobby. And with that, he has maxed out. Dark barely has any mining going on. He cannot afford to rebuild his army. He's trying to get into Hydras as we speak. But all Elazer has to do is just keep making Roach Ravager. And he will have enough to break through Dark. And we were talking about it earlier. We were talking about the potential for an ace match. And that's exactly what Elazer is going to be forcing here. As he does break on through between these bases. We barely have an army left here for Dark. A couple of Roaches, a couple of Ravagers, but it is not going to be enough. Even the Corruptors, they want to take part. They take down the Muta. they do what they can. GG gets called, and Elazer, he does it. He brings it back for himself, for his team, taking game number 2. We're going to the ace match. Let's go, man. Let's go. All the way. All the way. We are tied up 3-3, and this will come down to one final best of 1. Both teams will have their opportunity here to pick a player of their choosing to be the ace. Both Team Liquid and DragonKy Gaming, they have a little bit of time here for themselves to decide that. But before that, of course, just GG here to Elazer. Had such a powerful early game. It felt like he had a pretty strong lead almost from the beginning. After he was able to get away with skipping that Baneling Nest, he was just droning up more heavily. Dark, he was a little bit more he was lacking a little bit of confidence. It feels like we saw him delay droning quite often in that game. He was very, I don't know, anxious or very just paranoid about a roach counterattack from his opponent. So he was investing in roaches early on. He wasn't being aggressive himself, so he was just hurting himself by delaying his own drone production. Alas, in the end, that did lead into a win. And yeah, with that, GG, well played. Now it all comes down to a best of 1 on Dragon Scales. One final game to determine the winner of this Team League match. And I want the chat to get involved. We have a little bit of time to ourselves. Who do you think is going to be the ace player? I feel like for Team Liquid, the obvious choice is Clem, but Who knows? Do they think that maybe Elazer or SKillous are more on fire today? Is Clem tilted? Is he tilted after losing a game to Jieshi? You know, like, was that... Is he done for the night? I don't know. Is the mental broken? Or is it stronger than ever? Is it stronger than ever? Does he want to prove himself? Does he want to redeem himself? And is he the first to speak up and say, now put me in, coach, put me in. I want to win this for my team. Likewise, DKZ Gaming, both Hero and Dark did drop some maps tonight. You know, who's feeling better, who's feeling worse, who was more affected by their losses, who is feeling confident against Clem, if any of them. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Let's get some predictions going. We didn't expert who is winning. Papi is winning. Let's go. Feel Clem. I'm seeing some Clem versus Heroes. I'm seeing some Clem versus Darks. Clem versus Oliveira. Elazer versus Hero. Will anyone predict Jieshi? Does anyone believe in the power of Jieshi, Papi? That'll be the wild card. That'll be an insane curveball. Can we do a channel point bet on who DKZ sends out? Oh, that's gonna be on Kuro. Kuro, can we quickly set that up? Is it possible? We don't have a lot of time. That's the problem. We don't know when the players are gonna be announced. Like, it could be like in 5 seconds, could be in 10 seconds. Like, it's gonna be difficult. Where is Oliveira? That's a good question. Unfortunately, we don't know. We don't really know if maybe he's unavailable, maybe something came up. I was talking about it earlier. It's possible. It's possible that that maybe DKZ, they maybe even thought, you know what, Oliveira, take a day off. You know, we got this, Papi. We got this. We don't need your help. You know, Hero, Jieshi, Dark. We'll clean this up. We'll handle this. Don't worry about it. And then suddenly, oh, he has more votes than Dark. You're all animals. How could you have more faith in Jieshi than Dark, Papi? What do you mean? He's one of the best. I mean, you could argue that because Dark did just lose, it's possible that he one to smooge. You know, is he like I'm nah, mate. I'm not feeling it. Not after that game. That's another thing to bear in mind as here we go. We have our players who got it in the Jieshi got it. 69. Jieshi got 69 votes. Oh, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's what everyone wanted, Papi. Unfortunately, that is not the timeline that we live in. It is not Jieshi. It would have been beautiful. It would have been amazing. I would have loved to have seen the 69 myself, but no, it is going to be Dark instead. Dark versus Clem. Clem makes plenty of sense. Like, he is the ace player on team. Like, he's the highest rated player on Team Liquid for a reason. He's one of the best Terrans in all of Europe. Makes plenty of sense to field him. Whether it was going to be Hero, Dark, or Jieshi was more up in the air, and yeah, Dark, he wants back in. He's maybe upset about that last loss. He wants to redeem himself. He's feeling good against Terran. And we have casted Dark versus Clem in the past, in ESL Open Cups, like ESL Open Cup America specifically. Like, we were talking about it earlier. Clem is one of the few European DGens that stays up into the DGen hours of the night and does compete in ESL Open Cup Americas alongside Max Pax, alongside Geralt as well. And as a result, we have seen more of Clem against the Koreans, like just when it comes to volume of games in these online weekly tournaments. And they go back and forth. Dark has beaten him before. I think most recently he beat him as well, a couple of weeks ago in ESL Americas. But bearing in mind, it's the best of one. That's what's brutal about this. It's one game, which means this can go any way. This could go either way. It's so difficult to call. Like, Clem, he can bring so much to the table. He can bring bio play. He can go for Beyond's 2-Rax opener. He can go for mech as well. I know Clem does love to mix in mech mid-series. But I think Dragon Scales is the best map for that. I guess we should talk about the map itself. It is quite a small map in comparison to something like Altitude or Ancient Cistern or Gressvan. I'm sure that will affect and influence how these players want to approach this. Dark, he's more than willing to throw down a Roach Warren early on. He's more than willing to throw down a Roach Warren or get a fast lair and go for a Ling Queen Nidus all in. Like, we've seen Dark be so aggressive on Dragon Scales. Is he willing to be that aggressive in the ace match in a best of one? Yeah, probably. Yeah. yeah. If anyone would do it, Dark would, 100%. Mario would as well, let's be real. The Koreans, they have no fear. They have they're just built a little bit different at times when it comes to their approach here to these best of ones and best of twos. But we'll see. We shall see. Dark is gonna roach. Yeah. When is Max Sax playing? Max Sax is playing next. I believe Psystorm Gaming is going to be going up against... Let's double check. Oh my god. Onside Gaming versus Psystorm Gaming. That is going to be coming up next on this channel once this series wraps up. And Max Sax is going to be coming up first. He's up against Solar in his EVP. So definitely something to look forward to later on in the evening. But for now, we should focus on the here and now, on the ace match here between Team Liquid versus DragonKy Gaming. Oh boy, two A-tier players. I didn't even get to talk about the hexagons, the player stats themselves. Apparently, they're giving Clem a little bit of extra micro, Dark a little bit of extra defense. Apparently, question mark. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Dark should get extra points in like aggression and offense. Like, we can dox his defense, sure, but like give him like a 10 in offense or something. Like, I feel like Dark is a pretty aggressive player, and that's what he's known for. I feel like if he were to have a 10 in anything, it would be that. Maybe strategy as well. Like, he's a very diverse player. He does mix in a lot of different builds, a lot of all-ins, a lot of army compositions. Like, Dark isn't one note by any means. And I feel like neither is Clem, to be fair. But I don't know what they mean by strategy. Like, do they mean like game preparation or like map awareness or like I don't know. It feels a little bit vague. But or like build orders. Regardless, the players who are getting ready here for their matches, getting the lobby prepared. Dark with the evil villain goatee is 100% mentality. That's the thing, right? Like, we need some updated player picks. Dark, for over a year now, almost 2 years, I want to say, Dark has been rocking that goatee, that facial hair. This is a younger Dark. This is a more innocent Dark before his villain arc. I mean, he's always been a villain, to be fair. he's embracing it more, Papi. He's embracing it more. I'm Chuckles in the chat. I'm glad you noticed it as well. We brought it up week one. I was like, why is mentality lowercase? I'm like, what? Is that a mistake? How does that make any sense? Yeah, for some reason in the stats, everything is uppercase. Everything on the screen, except for the map name, is uppercase, except for mentality. It's all lowercase. Not even the first letter is uppercase. I don't understand. I don't understand, Papi, but yeah, for whatever reason, it's less important, or maybe if it like affects you when you look at it, like it's testing your own mentality as well. Maybe that comes into play. That's how they aggregate the score. If you have a good mentality, you aren't yelling like, nah, I can't condone that. But here we go. The players are ready. The lobby is set, and we are in Dragon Scales. In the bottom right-hand corner, the blue Terran player for Team Liquid, it is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales for DragonKy Gaming, the ace player, it is Dark. Okay. We had a transition into the player cams. You love to see it. Let's go. And this is what we have all been waiting for. The best of one to determine who wins this series. Is it going to be Team Liquid? Is it going to be DragonKy Gaming? Only one can rise. The other will fall. Oh boy. Does it come down to this? And Yeah, my eyes are on both players, to be honest. Like, it's gonna be a wild one. We were talking about it earlier. Dark is more than willing to be hyper aggressive against Terran players when it comes to roach timings, when it comes to even Nidus play as well, when it comes to fast layers. So definitely something to be keeping an eye on, as Dark does go for a hatch gas pool. Nothing too crazy when it comes to the overall opener here from Dark. Likewise, Clem also going for his, I imagine, soon to be Rax expand. Meanwhile, Clem, I know Dark is willing to go for these all-ins and go be hyper-aggressive. Likewise, Clem can also mix things up as well. I believe it was a couple of days ago in the Kung Fu Cup, we did cast Clem play a lot of mech, actually, a lot of mech against, I think it was Solar and Dark, if I'm not mistaken. Clem was very willing to embrace his inner mechanical god. Thankfully, it wasn't a slow style of mech. It was more of an active battle mech, if you will, a Ferrari mech with Banshees, Cyclones, Hellions, all that good stuff. That's at least what we saw him a couple of days ago. But we were talking about this coming into this series. I don't think this is the best map for that sort of thing. I do think that typically we want to go for maybe a bit of a larger map like your Ancient Cisterns or even your Neo-Humanities, just because of how much more defensive it can be. As we're getting into this game, Reaper slips out across the map. Going to be dancing here with the Lings of Dark, looking to deal some additional damage. Gets at least, a Ling, so not too bad, but Dark does get his third base up and running without too much issue. Dark also doing Dark things, investing into 6 Lings instead of 4. It is very iconic here to Dark. I guess he's just, respecting the Reaper and expecting to lose Lings and doesn't want to snowball out of control. Meanwhile, for the first time this broadcast, a shout out to the sponsors of WTL. Shout out to Doyu, Hypergriff, TGI Fridays, Taidu, and Rio de Janeiro. Without these lovely sponsors, WTL would not be a thing. So thank you. Thank you so much. Shout out to SC Boy as well. They do handle the mainstream. They also bring to the table Kung Fu Cup and World Team League as well, and another unannounced tournament on the horizon. So yeah, the Chinese scene doing a lot here for StarCraft. Much love, much love. As we get into this game, Clem is going to be going into a 1-1-1 opener, is going to be delaying his third CC, so less economic, more aggressive here from Clem. The onus is going to be on him to do damage early on, and we'll see if he can with this faster starport, with these, I imagine, soon to be faster Banshees, but we'll see what he does bring together. Likewise, Dark just getting into position, getting his 3 bases up and running. There we go. Banshee is on the way behind this. Cloak Banshee here for Clem. And we have seen this get out of control, not gonna lie. I do think it was in Kung Fu Cup where Clem's Banshees were getting at minimum 10 worker kills. It was insane, and it's not like he's up against random Zerg players. He was up against Solar. He was up against Dark. Like Clem, it was wild how much damage his Banshees would get. I'm sure Kura can attest to that as well. As Reaper somehow slips into the main base, gets a drone kill, gets 2 drone kills as the Hellions dive into the natural base as well. Lings were not able to keep up. Not enough Lings either to try and slow down these Hellions. 6 workers in total, and the Hellions, mate, they're not done. They want some more. And up, they get another volley off. Get 1 additional drone, 7 in total. Not too bad here, especially considering that these Hellions do kind of run out of longevity as the game goes on. Do have more Hellions back at home to defend against a Ling counterattack, and the Banshee is soon to hit the field. Has been spotted by that Overlord though, and Dark is fully aware of those Banshees. Spores are on the way as we speak. These Banshees shouldn't get too much damage, but we'll see. Again, Clem, with his positioning, with his control, with his multitasking, he can make some magic happen, as I believe we have some Hellions hitting the third base. Ooh. And they do get another 4 drones. Oh, as they did line up towards the end there. Dark having a hard time keeping up behind this. Thankfully, no mech. It is going to be Bio. We have Sim on the way, additional Rax is being thrown down, and a 3rd CC. So that transition into Bio is upon us from Clem. Likewise, Dark attempting to lick his wounds and recover from these economic losses, just heavily droning here, trying to keep up with the Hellions. And what's important is that the Hellions are still alive. Clem is still threatening those bases, still making sure that Dark is feeling as uncomfortable as possible. Even dancing with the queens, and he does get the high energy queen. Oh my god. This is what I mean. Clem, his Banshees, they just find damage. I don't know how. They find a way, fuck. They find a way. Oh my god, that's a kill on the gas as well. Ooh. Dark falling apart at the seams a little bit here. Still looking to recover, just heavily droning as we speak. The lair is now done. We have 1-1 on the way. Soon, I imagine, bailing speed as well. As I'm pretty sure we have a bailing nest, right? Can't quite recall if we've actually gotten eyes on that. Until such a time, though, Dark just trying to keep up here with these Banshees. Once again, getting caught off creep. Oh, God, is he going to lose another queen? He will. Does trade out for a Banshee at least, but that's a second queen. Again, full of energy going down, and we can see, that's why we didn't have a bailing nest. We didn't have any tech at all, and I was really concerned. I was like, we got the lair early on. Why do we not have a bailing nest? It's for a Roach Warren. 1-1 is on the way. Dark is going to be playing with Roaches. But that Roach Warren, it does feel a little bit late. Clem is going to be pushing sooner rather than later, and we only have Lings and Queens to defend. Bearing in mind that 2 queens did go down earlier full of energy, which means our defenses are that much weaker. Dark, I feel like he's in some trouble. Uh-oh. This 4th base, yeah, it's going to be cancelled. There's no way for Dark to hold on to it. Free proceeding as well. Dark just having a hard time here in the early game, leading into the mid game as well. Being contained to 3 bases, and honestly, Clem can keep pushing. Yeah, Dark is going for a counterattack instead. The Lings are looking to try and punish this 3rd base, but we have reinforcements back at home. Clem, if he wanted to, could try and keep on pushing, but no, he's going to back off. He's going to respect the position of Dark. Doesn't want to overextend. Even though I do think that he could have gotten some more value, not going to lie. He will be rotating around instead. He's going to be giving Dark some breathing room, and we can see Dark immediately double expanding. He needs to get a 4th base up and running. Whether it's on the right or the left-hand side, he needs one of them. As Clem just continuing to clean up all this creep, maintaining map control. Now, things will change once 1-1 kicks in for Dark. He's amassing an army as we speak. Roach Ravager on the way. Clem goes for the scan, does get eyes on the would-be 4th. He's going to be looking to deny it. And does Dark have enough to defend? His queens are over on the right-hand side. Over on the left, I think that's where his Roach Ravager army is lying in wait. But again, does he have enough? Roach speed about to kick in just in time for this fight. Lings, they go for the surround. File's going to be landing here on these tanks as well. Taking a very good fight here, as I say that. The Ravagers are getting caught out. 1-2 Ravagers do fall. But overall, he resets the tank count. He does catch a lot of these units here as they try to retreat. Biles not quite connecting with the Banshee. Unfortunately, a little bit misplaced. But for the most part, a good fight for Dark. He doesn't just reset the tank count, he also holds on to not just his 4th, but his 5th base. He's able to get his 2 hatcheries up and running. And now we can work towards that 2-2 timing. Not just that, but Dark is also taking up in a different direction as well. We have the Bailing Nest on the way. We have an Infestation Pit for Hive Tech as well. With that, we can potentially get into Lurker play or just transition into Ling Bane, maybe even into Ultra, which we have seen from time to time here from Dark. Doesn't really have the upgrades for it, but we'll see what direction he goes into. Until then, the Marines just trying to vie for that map control, but again, the Roach Ravager is here to meet him. We have a couple of Infestors on the way, but I believe this is just a stepping stone. 2 Infestors coming out just for Fungals, just to support Dark as he does tech up into Hive. There it is, the Hive is on the way. I believe Cyril does this as well, or many Zerg players that do commit into Roach Ravager. Just a handful of Infestors, not too many. As Clem is trying to pull his opponents apart. We have another army here on the left-hand side, but looks like Dark, he doesn't have enough. Ling Queen is not enough. The Marines, they stim on forward. They completely annihilate all of those things. They even catch an Infestor. This is going to be a dangerous moment here for Dark. Does mean he's down to only 1 Infestor gathering energy. Meanwhile, Clem is doing what he does best, setting up these multi-prong armies. Here on the left with a triple drop here full of Marines. On the right-hand side, his main army is pushing on forward. It looks like Dark is going to come across this. Observer just pointing out that dead Infestor. Biles will not be connecting, but at least Dark is aware of the positioning of these tanks. He does have to respect it. His army is coming together here. At the same time, Dark is going for a run by. Bathing Speed is still not done. We do get a decent fungal on the Bio Army. But one fungal is all we had, and Dark has to give up that base. At the same time, the Link counterattack does disrupt the 4th base of Clem for a moment, but merely for a moment. It gets back up and running. Clem is pushed, just not being stopped at all. The hatchery does fall. Now the Bathing Speed is done, Dark is going to try and push himself in. The tanks were caught on siege. And that was the moment for Dark. He gets on top of the tanks. He will clean this up. That was an unfortunate moment on siege for Clem, not going to lie. Ay. But he got the hatchery. He was able to at least get the base in the end. We can see another army pushing over towards the left-hand side. Again, trying to keep Dark on 3 bases. Looks like he is going to be spotted. Center hatchery canceled here for Dark again. He's still struggling to hold on. Still not able to fully saturate his bases. Lings rolling on forward. I don't believe there are any Banelings ready for this. We have 3 more on the way. 1 tank is going to get biled down. But alas, Clem is gaining ground. At the same time as Dark tries to take another 5th base, we have Marines here to stop him. He's being pulled apart. Vipers have hit the field with... Oh my god, that's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. Dark loses his 5th. Struggling to hold on to his 4th. He doesn't have a lot of creep to work with. The Vipers do come in. We do get some power bombs on the Medivacs. Wasn't close enough to throw down any blinding clouds, and I do think that Clem is breaking through. A good fungal here on the Marines, but there was no follow-up. Just not enough Lingbane on the ground. Clem just gaining so much value over the course of this game, snowballing over time, and Dark has just been really struggling to hold on. Lingbane does go down. Files are doing what they can, but Dark's army is crumbling. He barely has anything left as the Ravagers get focused down. The Vipers, they come in, but there's nothing for them to support. A couple of Roaches are trickling in, and it looks like maybe Dark can hold on. It's going to be close. But we have reinforcements. The Terran army does not slow down, not for anyone. Dark has to give up his 4th base. And as he gives it up, Clem, he ignores it. He goes for the drones. GG gets called, and Clem does it. He takes the series for his team, for Team Liquid. And they take down Dragon Kaizi Gaming. Let's go. Such solid play out of Clem. Dark, we saw him, again, falling apart a little bit early on to the Banshee harass, to the Hellion harass. He was having a really hard time as a result, holding on to his 4th base. It did feel like his Roach Warren was late. As a result, he couldn't even fight to try to hold on to his 4th as well, if you remember with the initial push. Just Clem getting all of these early leads and snowballing into that victory. GG, very well played there by Clem as he redeems himself. I was talking about this earlier, you know, I wonder how Clem was feeling after that loss against Jieshi, and maybe he wanted his revenge for his